But yeah, I'm so happy to be here representing Youthline today. And yes, thank you to Summer for connecting us all here and for all of you joining us on your lunch break. So hopefully this can be a nice little entertaining session. I do love questions. So as we get towards the end, if there's things that come up, be happy to answer any questions you folks have. Um, so because I'm new to the group, I made a little about me page slide. I'm a Maui girl. I was born and raised here. Being in the community is always something that's super important to me. Being able to give back to um, the neighbors, the aunties and uncles that helped to kind of raise me to be the person I am today was always something that I hold near and dear to my heart. I did a while in hospitality, and I really, really realized quickly like that is not the place where I want to spend my energy. So, been really happy and fortunate to be in the field of community health for quite some time. I think the line on the very bottom is the thing that I'm, most proud of is being a mom. I have two boys, two cats, and we just adopted a puppy. So super excited about that. Um, and so a little bit about Youthline. So Youthline, it's a peer-to-peer youth crisis service. It is run yeah, it is run by youth. So it's teen to teen. It's a national service that helps support youth in, some of their hardest moments. Youth can reach out to us via phone, text, or chat. And Youthline, because we like to let our kids go to school and they have to sleep and all the things. So when folks call in, they can reach other teams. Right now, we're working at 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. And then outside of that, our phone line is open 24 hours. And those calls will be answered by adults who are specifically trained to work with young folks. The photos that you see in this slide, that top photo there is a picture of our call center that's in Portland. And then in the middle and on the bottom, those are our two call center or pictures of our call center here located on Maui. Um, so we have a cute little dog and we try to keep it fun and festive. Our Maui call center, just because we're starting to get cozied in there, has not had all the cool decorations in there yet. But we've got a lot of great feedback from our volunteers and so excited to continue to share updates with you folks. So what is Youthline? So Youthline really has three main focuses three main focuses. We're a peer crisis and support service. We do a lot of classroom education and community outreach. And that looks a lot like, us doing community events. It looks like our volunteers going into different classrooms or going into different spaces with maybe organizations that work with youth to provide education and, of course, education to their peers. Um, and then volunteer mentorship and workforce development. I think one of the things that I really uh, love about Youthline is it is a very unique opportunity for our young folks to gain experience and exposure to what work in the mental health space looks like. And we'll go through that a lot more as we go through the slides. And with Youthline, we're actually a division of a larger organization called Lines for Life. And so you can see on this slide here, there's several of our services that we offer. Um, in addition to, the three things that were listed on the previous slide, our youth also are actively engaged in advocacy. And we're pretty excited to have some of our youth participate at the State of Reform coming up in January, where, we really want youth to feel comfortable and confident and be at the forefront for these decisions that get made that affect them. Um, and let's see. And so, yeah, our mission is to prevent substance abuse, suicide, and to promote mental wellness. And so, yeah, again, like some of the ways that we do that are through public policy, prevention, and education. and our crisis lines here. So Lines for Life, we're based out of Portland, Oregon, and we are also the main call center for 988 in Oregon, and we also serve as a national backup center. Um, yeah, I think that's it. And so this next slide here, um, because we are a youth, an adult-led and youth collaborated organization, I really want to allow our youth to have their voice here. I don't have anyone on the line with me, but we do have some video that is made by our volunteers. And so let me get that queued up.
Being a teenager is really hard. There are like a ton of changes.
Ups and downs, and pressure from school, family, friends, and social media.
Some days feel heavy. Some days feel lonely.
But you're not alone. Youthline is here for you. At Youthline, it's a place where youth volunteers like myself listen to other youth and offer support. We're also a confidential support and crisis line for anyone under the age of 24.
We're available every day from 4 to 10 p.m. Pacific time by call, text, or chat.
We talk about stress, relationships, grief, family issues,
and even thoughts of suicide.
No problem is too
So sorry.
big or too small.
Youthline is a safe, confidential space where you can share without judgment.
because our volunteers are young people, like you. They understand what you might be going through. So when life feels overwhelming, remember, you don't have to carry it alone.
Reach out to us at Youthline. Support is just one call, text, or chat away.
Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is ask for support.
Please visit our website and follow us on social media for more information.
Yay, I love that video because it really does help to kind of set the stage for what we'll be talking about next. So one of the main things one of the focuses that we have here at Youthline is to really encourage help seeking with our youth, and by having another peer on the other end of the line to provide support and to really encourage and to validate why someone is calling has been really, really helpful for so many youth that we've been able to help and support through our time. So Youthline it's a program. It's been around for 25 years. We just made 25 years as a national service, and we've grown leaps and bounds since we first started. And so why do youth call us? So some of the reasons why youth reach out to us, not new, probably not a surprise, but family issues, mental health concerns. We get a lot of youth that call around academic stress, the kind of the stage of the pressures that come also with athletics now, is also a reason why some folks call. Of course, and we take more some acute calls around self-harm and kids that are experiencing thoughts of suicide, but and everything in between. Average age range, I'd say, of our callers is our tweens up to teens, about 17, 18. And yeah, when they reach out for all kinds of different things. But yeah, really to try to normalize help seeking and to continue to help break down stigma around mental health. One of the classroom education pieces that we do usually pre and a post assessment. And a lot of the things that we find are actually that youth are, maybe they just don't have that support or guidance around how to talk about their feelings. And so one of the classroom lessons that we talk about is suicide awareness. Oftentimes when we offered our little menu of lessons to schools, the schools will pick our lesson around stress and coping. We do touch on suicide and self-harm, but in talking to some of the school folks, they're like, yeah, just our kids, they're not really sure. They don't know how to talk about these things. And so, yeah, by having our youth volunteers trained to do these classroom presentations and education, just really trying to foster this idea like, yeah, we talk about these things, we have these things going on, and it's okay to reach out for help. And also it's okay to not be okay. So our amazing volunteers, when they come on with us, they go through about 65 hours plus of training before they even take a single contact. Um, Aside from what's on this list here, they also are trained about HIPAA, mandated reporting, and all of the contacts they take go into electronic health record system. So they're all taught how to do all the things. They are masters at multitasking. Um, I am continuously impressed by them. But usually before we have a week-long training where youth will willingly and enthusiastically give up usually about a week of their time. Usually it's over a break. We did have a training over fall break. And we go over all of these things. By the time they're done with that week, they are also certified in youth mental health first aid and safe talk. And then, as you can see down below at the end, we offer assist training to volunteers after about 6 months. And it's offered, it's not necessarily pushed. We kind of evaluate to see where our youth volunteers are at. Some have a higher level of readiness than others to go into assist training. And then there's some pictures from our fall cohort. They're just lovely human beings. I love them so much. And so what does shift look like? So our shifts here so currently you heard in the video, we have teens on the line between 4 to 10 Pacific time.
There was a
So that's,
question. Sorry, just
oh
to
yeah,
interrupt to make sure everybody knows.
please.
The question was, is it only available in Oregon? And I said no, but that's where the call center is. So
Great. And
that's why I
that's an amazing question. Thank you, Kelly. I have my notes on my other screen, so I can't see the chat.
I gotcha.
Um, yeah, I appreciate you so much. Yes, that's a great question. So Youthline is a national service. Our call center gets calls from all over the country, Hawaii, all the way to East Coast. We've even had like emails from folks from other countries, just kind of tap in and be like, hey, I'm looking for support. We have call centers that are in Oregon right now. We have, I think, 4 call centers. Dwight, how many call centers do we have?
5.
5. Okay, yeah. So we have 5 call centers in Oregon. Our call center that is here located on Maui is so our youth are still going through training. So they're doing a lot of shadow shifts. They're doing a lot of role plays right now. They're getting really good and efficient in being able to take calls while documenting in our EHR. And we do a lot of check-ins with the kids. And so, our work can't be done unless our youth are feeling good and comfortable and have developed a great trust with our supervisors. And so that's where we're at right now. Um, we're hoping and looking at early 2026 to open up our lines here in Hawaii, which is awesome because we'll get to include amazing people here on the island and hopefully throughout the state in the future. And what that does for our national line is it'll extend the hours so that our folks that are on the East Coast can reach us in the very wee hours of the morning. And it just expands our ability to help serve young folks. Yeah, so thank you for that question. That was great. And so on shift, we follow best practices, and there's one is for every 6 youth, we do have a clinician that is on staff. And what this clinician does on staff during shift is, and you can see on that photo towards the right, that is our supervisor's nest. And so they typically have multiple monitors on their desk, and they are monitoring all the chats, all the text. And if there's phone calls, they'll have headsets on to listen into the calls. And it's not because we don't think that the youth are not capable of, taking these calls. It's just if there are things that become high acuity or escalate very quickly, our supervisors will go ahead and intervene and take these calls. And after shift, always, we do a debrief with the youth before they go off and go on with their evenings. But if there is a high acuity call, typically we'll check in with the volunteer. We'll kind of pull them aside for a one-on-one and see how they're doing. Um, and sometimes it does affect them, hits home a little bit too close to them. But most times they'll just take the call, high five, and then talk about what flavored Takis is more spicy than the other. So it's a really kind of fun vibe in the room. Let's see. All
And
right.
what is the spiciest flavor of Takis?
It's such a debate. Um, Blue, which
It's
is not a
okay.
flavor, but blue. It
Blue.
seems to be the popular one. Um, Great question. I love that. So here's just some numbers and data for our folks. So again, really leaning into the amazingness of our volunteers. They're able collectively as staff and volunteers, and it's mostly the volunteers, we're able to de-escalate 99% of the contacts that we take. And that really just means like we don't need to, there's a safety plan in place. Our contacts are feeling uh, they're de-escalated, and they're feeling better about having had the opportunity to have a safe space to just kind of air the things out. I do want to say one of the things that we don't do is we don't give advice and we don't diagnose. And so really this is a safe space for our youth to come talk, talk, process, and to not feel like they are being fixed or to get all the questions that I think a lot of us well-meaning adults, we want to help them. But a lot of times they're in a place where they're not even sure where they're at. And it's really hard to process and land on where they're at if one, they're not used to tapping in to being self-aware, one, and also it's really hard to settle on something when you're just getting barraged with questions, as well-meaning as they might be. um, and so yeah, so our volunteers, their commitment is pretty steep. It's not an easy volunteership. We do ask for a year, about 200 hours. So depending, a lot of folks come because that's required of their school. They have a lot of service hours they need to commit. We get the mix of youth that have been through the ringer and they are just so sweet and caring, and they just don't want their peers or anyone else their age to go through that isolation and feeling of being alone while they're struggling. We get the whole range. And, um, as we are in a workforce that has very few of us and we need more, about half or maybe more than half of our volunteers go into behavioral health. And so super exciting, very encouraging. Um, and the way that we really try to mentor our youth is in a way that it's real, um, but also they're encouraged. We do continuing education with them. We do fun stuff too, so it's not just all work and grind. We get together monthly and we do activities together. It really does become such an amazing community. Like the idea of having a cohort. Um, we've had these kids for a month and just watching them grow as individuals and as a group together, um, as they're taking role plays, it's really great because they're asking questions. And this group was kind of quiet, asking questions was kind of like, I'm not sure. But as they get stuck in their role plays, like, hey, can you take a look at this? Or what do you think about that? And I'm like, hey, I'm stuck here. And so to hear the chatter and the trust that they're building amongst themselves is really beautiful and amazing. Let's see. So here's a quick little snapshot of our call volume. So 2013 was recorded there, and then all the way up to 2021. Last year, we received about, or we took in about 25,000 contacts. So you can see on the map here that it's just grown, and we're really glad that our young folks are learning about our service and that we can be there for them. But this also tells us that we have a lot of work to do, and as far as in supporting our young folks. So Youthline Hawaii, and I kind of mentioned a lot of this before, but we go into schools, we offer a curriculum. Ideally, if we can get some of our kids to leave school for the day, it is also our volunteers who are co-facilitating these classroom curriculum with an adult. Community events, connection. Our call center, our staff here is local, and so really to support our youth, we just find it so important to be able to have these commonalities and ways to just kind of connect and support youth as they are here, and especially as we go into the community. Some typically a lot of our volunteers. They come from more affluent families where they have the time, and so to be able to um, have a diverse group of both volunteers and staff to help support each other as questions come up, like cultural norms come up a lot, like, oh, why do they do it this way, and just to be able to foster a very positive conversation of that's just really based from curiosity and wanting to understand and to learn and grow so that they can better support others. So I guess I kind of want to take a pause here to see if there's any questions about what we had talked about, or Kelly, do we want to wait till the end? I'm not sure.
Questions, comments? Oh, so students can call until 7 p.m. local time or 8 p.m. local time, depending which part of the year we're in?
Yes, thank you for bringing up daylight savings time.
Love it.
So our call line open till 8 p.m. where they'll have a youth answer the lines. Our phone line is open 24 hours. Just the times that there's other teens on the line is limited to that time frame. Yeah, good question.
And there's no call centers on Oahu, right?
There's
Not
no
yet.
call centers on Oahu yet. Yeah. So I mean, the hope and goal is to be able to, um, and it's really more than just having call centers here. It's being able to, empower our youth to learn and grow and to share this knowledge with their peers. Um, and so yeah, we have definitely talked about and would love to eventually have call centers on all the different islands.
Yeah, and it's a great volunteer opportunity. Well, it's a great service opportunity for kids. Can 20-year-olds call as well?
Yes, great question. Yep, absolutely. So we serve youth up to 24 years old.
And what kind of data are the research partners collecting?
Ooh, so it is, we do collect information, but it's all self-reported on why folks are calling in. Um, it is confidential up to a point, obviously, because we are mandated reporters. Um, but there's typically no follow-up, so we don't get to see, the journey after someone typically calls in. We do offer follow-ups, but sometimes they're just like, I'm good, I don't need to talk anymore. But reasons why folks call, we kind of listed in the front, but we collect that. We because there's an EHR system, we there are tags that where we can continually add to a file or my gosh, a profile. And so we can kind of see how often someone has called. Um, there is information about yeah, why they call. That's really the main one that we collect.
Do you know how busy the centers are?
It ranges, right? So not every night is busy. But typically we have even in on shift, maybe like 30 youth across the different call centers. Um, and they stay fairly busy. I'm not a great mather, but I mean, if you took, we're open every day, so we have no days off. So if someone wants to be super cool and divide 25,000 by the days in the year, that's about how many calls we take per day.
And two other chat questions. How do you find the volunteers? Are they referred to you? I mean, I guess they're all in Oregon right now, right?
They are in Oregon, but we have 12, and that's our next slide. I'm so excited to get to the next slide. So recruitment it's by referral, because we do work in schools. Sometimes we'll pique some youth's interest as we're doing our presentation. Um, and the presentation is really it's mostly focused around the topic, and then the recruitment is the afterwards. Hey, if you love this and you want to support your peers, you should come check this out. Um, so yeah, there's various ways. Like social media is a way like that can pique people's interest. Word of mouth, I think, is probably the best one because as Youthline is new to Hawaii, it's kind of a what is this? But then when the kids hear like, oh, hey, I did this and it's super awesome, like, oh, all right, can I do it too? So yeah, all the different ways that you can imagine teenagers might get their hands on some information. We do sometimes get referrals from different providers or community agencies. Um, I think just the circles I kind of run in, I think unfortunately the youth that get referred that maybe might want to volunteer, they're maybe just not there yet. They're typically going to be the consumers or the users of the service. Great question.
So, how do you know which schools or how do you decide which schools to go to?
I would love to go to all the schools. So if anyone has a connect, please let me know. We, I think for me personally, like I don't ever assume that the schools want us there. And so it's really important for me to take the time to really create relationships that are built upon, mutual trust and interest. And I mean, if I'm being quite honest, like it is difficult to get into the schools, and I love so much that schools are protective over their youth, and they want to make sure like this is not just some fly by night organization. So how do you get in schools? I mean, it's typically if you know someone, and then that's how a conversation starts. But if anyone might be interested and knows a connect to schools, we could definitely do that.
Excellent. And then there's so many questions coming in, but a couple questions
Oh,
about the calls themselves. Do
uh,
you allow anonymous calls? I
yes.
figured. Yeah. And then how long is a typical call if there is such a thing as a typical call?
Hmm. That's a great question because the range is so wide. Um, 5 minutes to an hour. Um, in that range, someplace. No, I'd say like we're probably like more like 10 to 15 minutes to an hour. And it really kind of depends on where the conversation is. Like, we're there to create safe space and to support youth. But we're also not like a talk storyline where we're just like chattering about what's going on in the world of I don't know, I'm gonna sound so old, like what's happening in the world of teens. So if we find like a conversation is kind of leading towards that, the volunteers will, they'll kind of push like, hey, so I just want to circle back, you called for this, how are you feeling on that? And just really kind of bring it back in. Um, yeah.
And do you get any blowback in the schools from possibly discussing hot topics such as self-harm or gender identity issues?
Yeah. That's a great question, and yes is the answer. And so typically how we approach schools is we have a handful of lessons that we offer, and then we just let the school choose. So we do have one that's around suicide awareness, and I kind of noticed that the schools kind of shy away from that. And that's cool. I mean, we'd love to have that in there because it's super important. Um, But the way I normally try to, package it, that presentation is like, hey, I noticed this. And so if you want to start with stress and coping, it's a really great way to get the youth comfortable with having discussions. We even do like silent discussions too. We'll put posters around the classroom. And that way, the students don't have to be worried about sharing an answer out loud. They can go around, write their answers, and then we discuss it. But then, I do encourage like, hey, and I would love to come back and do the suicide awareness lesson with you folks if that feels right. And yeah, it's really up to the school because again, like creating that trusted, positive rapport is super important.
Yeah, well, that's great. Other questions? Mid-session questions? That's it for now.
Awesome. Okay, so this next slide I'm so excited for because we going?
Oh, yeah,
We
you
going?
saw that pop up?
Boom. So, when we started, we were hoping that our first cohort of youth peer interventionalists, we're still trying to find a proper name for it, but our youth volunteers, we were hoping our cohort was going to have five. We would have been super stoked with it. We ended up with 12 youth, representing four different schools from Maui. And this is a picture of them there on a graduation day. And one of the things that we really do is we check in with them. And so there's some quotes from the students or from our volunteers. As you can probably notice, I did nothing to touch the grammar or spelling on this, so this is like super raw material. Um, yeah, we have 12 youth, which means that we can be open 2 nights a week. So we're hoping for five, open one night of the week, but we have 12 and we can be open 2 nights of the week. Right now, we're looking at having our youth on the lines Sundays and Wednesdays. Typically, those are data-wise, those are the most busy days that we've picked up on. Excuse me. Um, Especially the half an hour after our organ team closes, they usually get a pretty good influx of people that are trying to get in to talk with someone. Um, oh, I didn't mention. So, protecting our volunteers, our youth line, we're here for our callers, but we're also very protective over our volunteers. And so 200 hours, that's over a year. Our youth only work one shift a week for 3.5 hours max. Um, we typically don't allow them to work more than one shift. And it's really just because of the nature of the work that we do. And they're also super busy. Like trying to get these guys to pay for an activity is like moving mountains. But yeah, we're super excited. They are doing amazing in their role plays. And yeah, watching their personal growth, their self-awareness around the topic, around their own mental health, is outstanding. I'm so excited. This is such a fun group. Um, okay, what else? Yeah, so I thought I'd make this one nice and big. So how folks can reach us. So again, there's a call feature, a text feature, and a chat feature. Teens are on the lines again from 2 p.m. to 8. And if you want to take a picture of that'd be awesome. Um, can anyone guess which method gets used the most between call, text, or chat?
Text.
Word, text. Yes, absolutely. Thankfully, our text system is on the computer, so we're not like all stuck on our phones the whole time. That would be awful. But yes, we definitely get more text and then it's followed by chat and then call. Actually, one of our volunteers, they were like, wait, we have to take calls. I'm like, yeah, you have to talk to people. I'm like, no. It's cute. We've moved past that now, but it was just kind of funny to see their faces. Like we have to talk to people, like actual people. I'm like, yeah, actual people. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, our youth
Um,
don't like to talk on the
it's
phone.
true, yeah. And they did bring up a valid point. They're like, I just don't know if I'm gonna say the right thing. And like in this room, we're super honest. Like, yeah, you're probably gonna say the wrong thing. You're probably gonna text and chat back something that you're like, ooh, can I take that back? Um, but that's kind of how the other person on the line will know they're not talking to a bot. And we'll go ahead and apologize. Like, oh, you know what? That didn't come out the way I wanted it to. Here's what I actually meant. Um, it's a very beautiful process. Um, and so that's kind of it for the presentation. The QR code will take you to our website, if you want to go in and check out more information. I think outside of the lines and the workforce development, we also do support schools with mini grants. So going back to the schools, if they do want to if they need money to create some sort of program that helps support students or for staff training around mental health, we have a mini grant program. And I think we offer up to $2,000, I believe. But yeah, it's really great. I'm super excited, just being a local girl, to bring this resource to Hawaii and to get it known, even though we already have Hawaii callers, and hope that through our discussion and questions, this might be something that you can refer some of your patients to utilize. It is a really good in between for any youth that are already in therapy, because again, we're 365 and the call line is open. 24 hours, and it's just again a safe space for them to just kind of process and chat and like that. But I'll
How
keep
can
this screen up
teens,
for a little bit longer. Sorry. Yes.
how can teens on Oahu get involved or any islands?
Um, that's a great question for right now. I'm all of us staff of one. And as much as I would love to be on every single island, we're just not there yet. So I think as soon as we feel really good and stable with our call center and ops here on Maui, we'll definitely branch out so that youth on other islands can participate. But how they can take part in now is, to just share the resource. I think one of the things that pretty much across the board, all the students have raised their hand on or given a thumbs up is, to the questions like, hey, do you know someone that has, that's struggling with, it could be whatever category, but, typically I say their mental health, and then give examples. And it's thumbs up across the board. So the service is free. There's no parental consent that's needed. So, as far as that being a barrier, that's not a thing. So the youth can utilize the service when they need it.
Are there any topics you don't cover? I guess that's in schools.
Oh, I
Another
mean,
question is, do you cover cannabis use?
so substance use, how do we address that? Because we try to create a safe space for youth, we don't necessarily say like, oh, that's bad. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you using cannabis? However, we will say something like, I'm glad right now that you're safe. And some people do use cannabis as a way to cope. However, it's been shown to have some long-term adverse effects. And then just kind of switches the conversation to, what are some other things that you like to do that help you cope with a hard moment. So we won't outright say, oh, that's illegal. You can't do that, because that just adds to the guilt and the shame, and that would probably have them hang up on us really quick. So we don't condone it. We do help to encourage conversation around other perhaps healthier coping strategies for our callers.